Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I want to explain to you why I think that changing your exercises too often and just changing your exercises at all might not be the best idea, and there's literally nothing magical about changing your exercises. So I see way too many people way too often change their exercises. They might be following a certain training split for, let's say, 4 months, and after 4 months they're like, okay, I've been following this split for quite a long time now, so let's change the exercises a bit, and try something new. Why I think that this might not be just like not needed, but also can in many situations be counterproductive. Well, first thing is that you don't want to be changing your exercises too often, because you actually need to give time to each exercise to get good at doing this exercise, So just like when you're playing some kind of sports, when you're playing football, when you're playing handball, swimming, whatever you do, the more you practice this sport, the more time you put into practicing this sport, the better you'll eventually get at playing this sport, And it's the similar with exercises, If you want to get really good at, for example, barbell squat, how you get good at doing barbell squats? Well, you need to be doing barbell squats, right? How you get good at doing deadlifts? Well, you need to be deadlifting. How you get good at bench press? Well, you need to be bench pressing, And if you're like, I don't know, you want to get good at barbell squatting, and you're doing barbell squats for 4 months, and then for some reason you are like, okay, let's switch it up a bit and let's go on a leg press for 4 months, So, it's not the same movement. Even though the same muscles might work, it's not the same movement. And if you want to get really good at certain exercises, you actually need to give a lot of time to those exercises so you get really good at doing them. And so you, to say, milk out the most progress that you possibly can from this exercise. Now, another big mistake that I see a lot of bodybuilders and just like gym goers doing when trying to apply progressive overload and get stronger is that as soon as they hit like a strength plateau on a certain exercise, they immediately think that they need to like switch it out and change the exercise, But this is really not the case, because it is normal that after some time of progressing on certain exercise, once you're over with those like neurological adaptations and this like easy progress at the start when you're starting new exercise, that you'll eventually come up to a point where your progress on this exercise will like slow down a bit, or maybe for a certain period of time even completely stop. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be like changing the exercise, because when you change the exercise, this is usually what happens, You hit the strength plateau on a certain exercise. Let me choose like 2 exercises, for example. Let this be lat pull down and pull ups. So let's say you hit strength plateau on a lat pull down, and then you switch this exercise and go on pull ups. And even though those exercises are like almost the same, you can really be strong at doing pull downs, but you can be weak at doing pull ups because you're not used to doing pull ups. And then once you go from a pull down to a pull ups, you'll be pretty weak at the start, but you'll be able to all of a sudden make some kind of like rapid progression over the weeks, in the first few weeks of you doing pull ups. And then once you switch the exercise, so you went from doing pull downs to doing pull ups, and you see this like rapid progression in first few weeks or even months of you doing pull ups, and you're like, whoa, I'm doing so much progress. I'm getting so much stronger on my pull-ups, I'm making so much progressive overload. I'm going to grow so much from this, but it's not really the case, because once you go from one exercise to another and you see this rapid progression, this is not really a strength progression, it's not really about your muscles getting that much stronger. It's more about like neurological adaptations of your body and your muscles to this new movement, So you were weak at doing pull-ups before because your body was not used to doing this movement, and then you saw this rapid progress not because your muscles got so much stronger, but because neurological adaptations happened to this new exercise, And then it will be the same. So in the first few weeks or months, you'll see some like rapid progress in your pull-ups. But then eventually you'll come to a point, just like with pull downs, where this progress will slow down and it will not be as easy to achieve progressive overload on pull-ups anymore. And then you'll notice that during this time you might didn't grow your back at all, you know, doing all these pull-ups, because this wasn't any kind of like true progressive overload, true improvements in muscular strength, but mostly just neurological adaptations to new exercise, and your body getting good at doing this new exercise, you know. And only then, once you come up to this point where you kind of like hit a plateau and things get hard again, and your muscular strength on a pull-ups and the ability to induce muscular stress with pull-ups kind of matches to what you're doing before on a pull-downs. So only from that point on, once you hit the plateau again with the pull-ups, and you kind of need to be breaking this plateau, you know, there's no other way around it. You need to be breaking this plateau, because every new rep from this plateau on, every new weight, you know, every progression from here on will actually be true progression and true progressive overload that will make your muscles bigger and stronger. So once you hit the plateau on a certain exercise, you shouldn't be immediately changing your exercise thinking that this will solve the problem, because it mostly won't solve the problem at all. It is just giving you some kind of like false hope and false happiness, thinking that you're making some kind of like rapid progress, when in reality you're really not. You're just getting better at doing some kind of new exercise that your body wasn't used to doing before. So that's pretty much it. So hitting a plateau, a strength plateau, on a certain exercise after a while, it's a completely normal thing, and it happens to everyone. Because if it wouldn't, if we would just like get indefinitely stronger, you know, then we would all be world record holders and I don't know, squat 300 kg and stuff like that, you know. But obviously it's not as easy as that, and if plateaus occur, that's something completely normal, and that's something that you need to accept. And once you hit a plateau on a certain exercise, you should not be like changing the exercise, but rather thinking about what can I do so I can break this plateau. That's what you should be really focusing on, because once you break this plateau, I promise you the gains are awaiting you there. Now, this is pretty much it for this video. Maybe we could also talk about shocking the muscle, like some other old bodybuilders claim that like you need to be doing different exercises all the time to like kind of like shock the muscle, you know. But this is, I can tell you straight away, it's pure bullshit. You don't need to be changing your exercises at all. The only shock you need to give to your muscle is actually progressive overload, and expose your muscle to a bit bigger stress than it was exposed before. So it's kind of like stressed and forced in some kind of like muscle adaptations, you know. So it needs to get bigger and stronger, so next time you expose it to this same stress again, it will be ready, you know. So the only really shock you need to give to your muscle is to get stronger over the time and progressively overload on your exercises. But there's absolutely nothing magical about changing your exercises. Now, I completely understand if you change certain exercise here and there because of some other reason, like let's say certain movement becomes uncomfortable for you and it's maybe causing you some kind of pain, and you go with something else that you consider to be more optimal for you. That's completely fine, but don't be thinking that like once you reach a plateau that the solution is to change the exercise and that you need to be changing the exercises to drive the progression, because that's absolutely not true, and you don't need to be doing that. Just design the training program that suits you for your goals, based on like your body structure, you know. So you're not doing movements that are like not good for your body structure, maybe like causing you some kind of like pain or injuries, you know. So pick exercises that you like, you know, and then just go with that and just progress in those exercises as much as possible. And once you hit plateaus, accept that this is normal and just try to work your way around it and try to break these plateaus. And if one training program really suits you and works for you, you can be following it for years or even for whole life, you know, without any need for changes at all. So the only thing you really need is to find training program that suits you, that works for you, and then to progress on it and get stronger on it over the time. That's all you really need. There is nothing magical about constantly changing your exercises. So that's it for today's video. I hope you find some value in it. Like always, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share to support the channel's growth, and see you in next video.